Coral reefs are some of the most biologically diverse habitats in the world, with millions of different species employing the same areas and relying on each other to survive. Symbiotic relationships like this means that reefs all over the world are extremely important. To date, 27% of coral reefs have already been lost, with predictions that if factors go unchanged, 30% of reefs around the world will be damaged beyond repair in the next 20 years. The Great Barrier Reef is over 2,000 kilometres long and a part of the world's heritage site listings due to its extreme biodiversity and uniqueness. The coral cover in the reef has declined from 28% in 1986 to 22% in 2004. Many factors have influenced these environmental changes, but they all have one thing in common: humans retain the title of being the cause. Pollution is a key factor to the decline in coral reefs worldwide. Many land-based production areas dispel pollution into the ocean, changing the chemical balances, nutrient rates and sediment values of the water and thus increasing mortality rates among the species of the reef. The government has put into effect the Reef Water Quality Protection Plan. The plan was established in 2003. It does a series of tests on the agricultural coast next to the Great Barrier Reef, measuring nitrogen and phosphorus levels. Nutrient levels of the Great Barrier Reef are closely linked with terrestrial runoff. If the nutrient levels become lethally high, the change could induce a species such as algae to exponentially grow, creating a ripple effect where all species are impacted. To combat pollution and overuse of the reef, the Australian Government have developed a system to monitor the reefs and outlying waters to help in conservation and safety methods. The federal government protects the water from 3 kilometres outwards, and the state governments and territories protect the inshore waters out to 3 kilometres. This helps to ensure biodiversity is maintained and sustainable yield is increasingly prevalent. The Australian Government with the Queensland Government have classified the Great Barrier Reef as a marine park and protected the thousands of species that reside in it. The zoning plan isolates 33% of the marine park as no fishing. Commercial fishing is limited and spread through the majority of the park as to not overfish. Recreational zones are placed inshore to protect outlying regions of the marine park. Species have thrived in the Great Barrier Reef due to these restrictions, which are updated every 5 years so as to always improve. Climate change is affecting ecosystems globally. In the Great Barrier Reef, climate change is changing sea temperatures, with sea surface temperature increasing by 0.4 degrees Celsius in the last 30 years. Zooxanthellae are microscopic organisms that give coral their colour. Even the slightest change in water temperature causes the zooxanthellae to die, leaving the reef to become white, with only coral remaining. Another factor of climate change in the Great Barrier Reef is the sea levels that are rising. This is shown in a recording conducted by scientists in Townsville over a 50-year period. A combatant of climate change being utilised by the Australian Government is to monitor the Great Barrier Reef and gather information to formulate an ecological response to its changes. One such program, the Catchment Loads Monitoring Program, monitors 25 sites, which covers 11 high-priority catchments and 14 sub-catchments. The Great Barrier Reef is a unique group of organisms that are the basis for pioneer research and priority management. The protective agents employed take into consideration all environmental factors, human interference and unforeseen involvement. There must be diligence, continue extensive research and a willingness to meet and overcome environmental obstacles if the Great Barrier Reef is to continue to be an irreplaceable World Heritage Site.